Laura Edwards was a single mom in 1999. In fact, her mom was a single mom, and their family had a history of lack and barely making ends meet. Laura had a job making just $11,000 a year. Her small salary had to cover it all: rent, food, childcare, and car payments. It just wasn't enough, and things were going from bad to worse.
I'd been the daughter of a single mom, and I had been a single mom, and so I had lived in poverty the majority of my life. And the harder I tried, the worse it got. I mean, some people really have their aim set on significance. I just wanted to be able to function.
Laura thought the only answer for her was a husband. Then, in September of 2000, Laura got radically saved.
The goal of my life, the mission of my life before Jesus Christ was to find a husband. And so I read this book called When God Writes Your Love Story. And these two young people talked about how they had given their lives to Jesus Christ, and they dedicated their love life to God. And I thought, well, I've tried everything but love connection. Maybe I'll give him, maybe I'll just give my love life to Jesus. And so I did, and that went on for about 2 weeks. And I felt so good after I'd done that I thought, hey, I'll just give him the whole enchilada. And started searching for a church after I did that, and ended up at Word of Life. And the first time I walked through the door, it was like I'd been on this long journey, and I just walked through the door of my home. It just even smelled like home. It smelled like home. Shortly after I got saved, I immediately began to hear his voice. He told me two things when I first got saved. He said, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and I will give you the desires of your heart. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness." And all these, don't worry about the rest of the things. Don't worry about the husband. Don't worry about the house. Don't worry about anything else. As long as you just follow me with all of your heart, he said, I'll take care of everything else. I had gone shopping with my mother, and there was this beautiful stove that I wanted. And I said, boy, I'd like to have that stove. And my mom was like, oh, you can't afford that. And so one Sunday, it was really crummy weather. It was sleeting. It was awful. The church was not very full that day. And they were just doing one service at the time. And he said, do we have any single moms here? He said, I would like 20 men who feel like the Lord has really blessed them in their finances to come forward. And so 20 guys came forward, and he said, now I want you to just put whatever pocket change you have in this offering. And so these 20 guys threw in their pocket change. He brought the money to us, and he said, I want you to know that the Lord has blessed you today. And so we counted out, there was over $700 in 20 guys' pocket change. And so I tithed, and I gave an offering because the Lord had already shown me that. And I went to the store and bought the Saran stove, this beautiful stove with the Saran top, and had exactly enough to the penny to pay for it. It was interesting because Larry, my husband, was one of the 20 guys that came forward and sewed into that offering. It's a funny story. I had a single mom's retreat and out at his farm. He has a farm in Oregon that he doesn't live on, and he came that morning to put gas in the four-wheelers and saddle the horses and show us the boundaries of the property. And since he was single, I figured that he probably hadn't had breakfast, and we'd gotten up and fixed a nice breakfast. So we invited him, and my uncle was with him, in to have breakfast with us. And we were standing in the kitchen in a circle, and when he took my hand to pray, my heart did this little flutter thing, and I said, shut up, he is 19 years older than me. What are you thinking? And I totally said, put it in a box, stick it on a shelf, and forget that one. And so shortly thereafter, I had invited Abby, his daughter, out on a little girl get-together. He decided that I was a good role model for Abby, and that she was, he could be a role model for my son. And so we were trying to, put us together with our kids and talk about the Lord and inspire them to love God with all their heart. And so I was on the phone with him and making arrangements, and I said, you know, I just want you to know that I'm not in league with your daughter, because at this point Abby had just fallen in love with me, and I thought, well, I don't want him to think that I'm trying to play love connection, but it was apparent to me that she was. And so I said, well, I'm not trying to play love connection. And he says, well, do you want to go out with me? So I called him back Friday. My arrangements were with Abby on Saturday, and I said, okay, I'll meet you here at this time. And I said, and I've really thought about what you said, and I said, I think I would like to go out with you. And so after Abby and I had our little lunch, then Larry and I went out on our first date. When I got saved and gave my life and my heart to Jesus Christ, I just fell head over heels in love with him. I was crazy in love with him, and I'd realized that the guy that I'd been looking for my whole life was him. It wasn't a man, a husband, it was him. I really wanted to be whole, and there was something that was missing in my heart. And when I found him, I was full. I didn't have to have a husband. I didn't have to have a man. I was okay. And I knew if I lived the rest of my life as a single person that I'd be all right, because I had Jesus Christ. I mean, and that's what I needed. And then he gave me a husband anyway, so.
Today, Laura and Larry have an incredible marriage, a wonderful family, and God is blessing the work of their hands as they continue to press on in what God has called them to do.